The birds are singing, the blossoms are blooming, the eggs are safely hidden. It's springtime at Megacan Towers, and Megan has some sparkling springtime tips for the long weekend. But unfortunately, there's some news to get through before that. How do you get a tram through a fence? Driving tests for senior citizens, football news, and whatever the fuck that fucker Kai Wegner has been up to this time. Mahlzeit.
In Berlin's heart, where news is unveiled, Megan and Conrad with German tales. The German news, it's tough to bear, but with Megacans, they're ready to head Conrad, daily news at hand. Megan feels to spare, time to crack those cans. With each sip she takes, the Meg is her shield, but will it last the news? 'Cause that was the deal.
Hello everyone, it's time for another episode of Megan's Megacan. I'm here in Berlin with Ex-Berliner magazine. And Konrad Werner. Hello Konrad.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Spring. Cautiously optimistic. That's me knocking on wood.
It keeps being slightly warm and then really freezing again. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But today's very nice.
So it's lovely.
I feel a little bit of spring in the air.
Yeah, the blossoms have come out.
They're very nice, aren't they? Have you got plans for the long weekend?
Well, my mum is here, so I'll probably do mum stuff. She might have to hide a few eggs, see if she can still find them.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's always nice to have a mum in town.
Yeah. Well, it's always it's a great weekend, isn't it? 4 days.
It is. It is.
It's a classic. I suppose
a lot of chocolate.
You're off for like 2 weeks, aren't you?
Yeah. Been off this week. It's been good.
Okay.
Getting ready to move house. Putting things in boxes. Realising I need them. Taking them back out of the boxes.
What are we drinking?
Right. So I have a little bit of a deviation from the normal here, but it's very exciting because our friends, Hannah, she was in Mexico.
Yeah.
And what she's brought us are some Mexican Megacans. They're not technically megas because they're only 5%, but they are Megacans.
Oh,
they're
wow.
double the amount.
Oh, wow.
And they're just agua mineral.
It's just mineral water with Jack
Whiskey
Daniels
and
in it.
water. Is it going to be flat?
I don't know. There's
God,
only
let's
one
try.
way to find out.
There's only one way to find out. These are huge. 473 mils.
Great. All the way from Mexico City.
Yeah. Thanks, Hannah.
Thanks, Hannah.
0 carbs. Class. They don't have any...
Healthy option.
Well, I'll tell you they don't have, they don't have that little pregnant lady with an X through her being like, no, pregnant ladies.
More liberal in
Probably
Mexico.
still not fine to drink if you're pregnant, but...
Cheers.
Cheers. Woo.
Ooh, interesting.
It smells... Oh.
It's just a whiskey with water in it. With fizzy water in it.
It is.
A whiskey soda.
It is a whiskey soda. It tastes slightly sweet to me.
It's definitely alcoholic.
Yeah. And I appreciate that it's a very large can.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see how we feel in a little while. We need to remember to maybe... Well, probably not you. You'll have slaked this down in a matter of moments. But I need to not be left with any at the end. Because that always...
Oh, that's annoying. Nothing worse than finishing a podcast and still having more to drink.
Oh, God, yeah. You've got to use it all up during the news.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. What are we doing? What are we talking about? Well...
Right.
This week, I sent my first press request my first official press request on behalf of Megan's Megacan.
Did you actually use the words Megan's Megacan?
No, my nerve failed me at the end.
I
just
that's
said I
fine.
was a freelance reporter. But I sent a...
Even that, in the context of this show, seems like a bit of a stretch.
I was like a bit vague about who I was representing.
Do it for a thing.
But I've got to do a thing.
Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. So I wrote, because we have to start from the beginning.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning.
We got a question from patron Ivy.
Yes, thanks, Ivy.
It was about the M10 tram.
Yes.
The extension of the M10 tram, which is obviously a burning issue.
Yes.
If you live anywhere in sort of the eastern part of Kreuzberg.
Yes.
Görlitzer Park area, Wagnerstrasse.
Yeah.
All the way into Hermannplatz. Important issue for all those people. And
The M10 is a class tram as well.
Apparently,
I used to live on the M10. Apparently, it's Berlin's most well-known, which I can understand. Takes you from Warschaustrasse all the way now to...
it goes miles. It goes, according to the map on the map of the Berlin website, and it goes all the way to Jungfernheide. Is that right? That's miles.
Is it all the way to Jungfernheide now? I know that
Yeah. Well, maybe
they're extending it.
Oh, no, yeah, they're extending it that way. It goes to Turmstrasse, and then they're planning to extend it that way as well. So they want to extend it on both ends. One way from Turmstrasse all the way to Jungfernheide, on the other end from Warschaustrasse all the way to Hermannplatz.
That's a long way for a little tram.
Yeah, it's a long way.
I love the tram as well. And
also, it's a 24-hour service. Did you know that? This is significant that it's a 24-hour service, of course.
Yes. Doesn't surprise me. I used to live on the M10 when I first lived in Berlin.
Our listener astutely noticed that it was it's planned to go through Görlitzer Park.
Yes.
And they want to build a fence around Görlitzer Park.
They do.
So if it's going to be going for 24 hours, how is it going to go through Görlitzer Park? Questions on questions.
Questions upon questions. So
I actually wrote
as a freelance
journalist representing various media. I which may or may not involve drinking canned cocktails, wrote to the Ministry of Transport of Berlin and said, how are you organising this? And I got an answer. They actually answered me on the same day.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And the answer was simply that the current planning is still running. The BVG, which is the local transport authority, say that there are various technical possibilities about how to get a tram through a park at night. I'm paraphrasing.
Like gates.
Yeah,
but it does say like various technical.
Yeah.
In the
They apparently they are working on it. They're thinking about it. And then the spokesperson added, we would like to point out that no generelle Schließung. How would you translate that?
Complete closure.
No complete closure of the park has yet been decided. So
Right.
It's all a bit up in the air.
It's all about when is a park closed, when is it not closed, is there a tram, what's happening? It's just ridiculous. Okay.
What did you call it?
Schrödinger's fence. This fucking fence is going to go up around Görli.
So they have to maybe it'll be like a kind of a lock system on a canal. So they open it when the tram arrives. Someone has to stand there and open the gate, let the tram through, and then close the gate behind the tram. I don't know. That could be one of the many technical possibilities that the BVG is working on.
Just a gate.
Yeah.
Right.
So
this is planned for 2030?
2030 is this line is scheduled to be opened, and we are currently still in the pre-planning phase.
Vorplanung. Very good German words.
Yeah, the consultation phase.
Yes.
Of this thing. Yeah, and if you go on, on the berlin.de website, there's a whole page devoted to this extension plan, and you can read all the. And what did you notice on that page?
I do want to preference this with, as a Neukölln resident, I am actually very pro extending this tram, because anyone who has tried to get from the geographically not that distant Neukölln to Friedrichshain knows it's an absolute fucking ball ache.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
It's really annoying. It's like a transport
U1.
black hole. You kind of either have to go with the M29, which I do like, but it's not perfect, and then go up that way and get to Friedrichshain, or you go U1, change at Kotti, which is always fun, but not always like you want to do that all the time. And then you get in the U1, my favourite line, but still takes ages, and you're like, this should be quicker. It's just there. And the M10 would literally just go straight line, which would be good. Yeah. And we love a tram. Trams are a very East Berlin thing. I have no idea why. Love a tram. Excited to get some in the geographical East, historical West. However, like all things Berlin, I worry none of this is going to come to fruition. It's going to be a complete mess. It's going to fuck everything up. We've just finally got the bit of Karl-Marx-Straße, the building work, not building, whatever it is, work between, I can't remember, like Weserstraße and Fullerstraße. That has literally been like partially cordoned off for years. That work on Karl-Marx-Straße has apparently made 1 kilometer in 10 years.
What are they doing on the Karl-Marx-Straße?
Who the fuck knows? Fuck all. I mean, it looks great now. We're all delighted, but that's because we're Stockholm syndromed into it. We're all like, oh, look, they finished it. There's like more bike space and like pedestrian. I don't even know. I haven't even looked at it. I can't believe it's a thing. Anyway, I don't know. The question and answers are all very vague, and they use this lovely language. They've been in consultation with experts about the M10 and going through the park, which was controversial already, from what I understand, before. I remember there being a controversy about this even before Kai came along with this fucking fence that isn't a fence, but it's different. Okay. It is a fence, but it's different to the other fences that have been there and the one that's already there. Yeah. I don't know. And my favourite part was they're supposed to be saying, like, obviously we're going to consult with citizens and people involved and interest groups, which I think they have done. But a lot of that was supposed to be happening last year, and because of organisational challenges, which is just a meaningless, like they couldn't get it organised. There wasn't any COVID, there was no restrictions. They couldn't do that kind of like citizens, presumably like a town hall meeting where people come and like shout at everybody. They couldn't do that. So they say they're going to try and do it in the first half of 2024. It's now March. There's nothing about that. There's no way if you go on meinberlin.de, you can't put in your opinion anymore. You can't do anything.
Well, they have this explanation of what they mean by participation.
Yeah, so what they've done then, because they haven't been able to organise the participation, is to redefine what participation means. And then,
now, you might think participation means that you get to participate, but that is not what we mean.
They've got a little extra box.
They got a bit. Well,
it's so good.
It's like a little known definition of participation.
Type of participation. This is underneath their like thing about like, oh, you'll be able to type of participation, information, open brackets, without participation, close brackets. Like that can't be a type of participation. You can't just say no. Oh, but the type of participation that we're doing is not participation. Then you're fucking not doing citizens' participation. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I watched a few episodes again of The Thick of It, which is that kind of like satirical, political. It's just so that. Well, what are we going to say?
So that the kind of participation they mean is where they give us information from their consultations with experts. By giving us that information, we are technically participating, even though we're not allowed to participate.
Well, we are. It's just that the type of participation is with
them
high
telling
participation.
us what they're thinking. Yeah,
it's so lovely. The term participation awakes the expectation that you be able to actively and but that's not possible by such a big infrastructure thing.
Because
like,
obviously
then just don't say. Then just don't say it. That's fine. It's this kind of bullshit where you're like shitting in my hand and calling it a Sunday that I'm just like, this is so, and my fucking tax money paid for some fool to write that paragraph. And I'm just livid about it. I'm just livid. Either you're so stupid that you think that is a thing, which I then hate that I'm paying for your, like, you shouldn't be in those positions, or you're doing it in bad faith, in which case go fuck yourself.
Yeah, they should just write, obviously, you can't have loads of riffraff coming in telling us how to build our tram. We'll never get it done.
And to be honest, I can't understand. Like, I can only imagine the absolute nightmare if you're trying to close this thing and bring more trams and whatever, and then someone's like me is going to show up to a town meeting and be like, here, I've been thinking. Like, no, I'm not entirely sure that needs to happen, but fucking don't tell me that you're going to do it if you're not going to do it. Oh, God. Anyway. So in answer to Ivy's question, who the fuck knows? We'll see. I don't think we're going to be...
Some kind of gate for the tram.
I don't think I'm going to be popping into a tram in Hermannplatz and then scooting up to Simon-Dach-Straße in 2030. I don't see that happening.
You don't think they're going to finish this tram in time?
I can't tell you how long it's taken them just to do normal street stuff, no tram.
It's unusual for them to even... Because you don't see a lot of trams being extended. It's not
Apparently they're extending quite a few into the west.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then I stand corrected.
Tore them all up. Like, these are old.
Because there's still a tram track down the middle of Leipziger Straße. Have you ever cycled over Leipziger Straße?
No, but I hate that. It's cycling near trams fucking terrifies
There is a tram
me.
track right through there that has never been taken out, even though there's not been a tram there for decades.
Well,
anyway.
Maybe they'll put another one. Maybe we could do that. Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway. You wanted to say something about Kai Wegner.
Oh, God. I have so much to say. So when we were talking about this tram thing earlier, because of the question from Ivy, which we have sort of answered, not really. We've given all the information that's currently available. Yeah. We've allowed Ivy to participate. Like, here's the fucking official response. Nobody knows what it means. Thank you very much for your question, Ivy. Yeah. Please keep giving us your money as a patron. We do really appreciate it. Seriously, thank you. And please do ask questions and or become a patron. That would be great. So obviously then I start thinking about, because everyone's like, well, how are we going to get a fucking tram through if there's going to be a fence? And then I'm like, right, fucking Kai Wegner and his fence. It's becoming one of these like flashpoints of, I don't want to say like in the sort of culture wars, but it is just part of this. How are we going to clean up criminality? And then I was like, I'm sure he's going to say nothing, but why don't I actually listen to his whole speech that he gave a month ago after the debate in the Abgeordnetenhaus in Berlin, where everyone had been like debating and he was responding to people's questions. To say this man gives me the ick, first of all, mark my words, and beyond what I normally have about politicians. I don't know. Do you get that feeling for him? Like, I feel he would just turn really quickly violent.
Oh, right.
I don't know, physically or just, I don't know. Well,
do you know about the scandal with him? He's in a relationship with one of his ministers.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Again, this is something I fucking mouthed off with in the Radio Spätkorb episode that I was on in January. Oh, yeah. Which he has form with, by the way. So he basically left his partner, you know, the mother of his two children or whatever, for this woman. Yeah. Apparently there's one of these timeline things that they do, like, they announce separation, like, I don't know. But that woman was already someone that he had worked with previously, like a junior thing quite a few years ago. But there's not even a scandal, I find. Like, I think that the German press are weirdly, because I really went on a deep dive about this, and the only people I could find being like questioning the sort of ethics of it was like these strange regional newspapers. And I was like, I don't know. Maybe there's like, people were like, oh, are they going to be able to work together? And I was like, he appointed her. Are we not going to talk about that? Yeah, I mean, it has raised a few questions in the local government, I believe. Anyway. But anyway, what about this speech? So this speech, right? So obviously we're bringing you hot off the press a month ago. I finally sat down to watch it today and I was like, oh God, this man. Right, so he's there going on. And I hate his whole delivery anyway. But he was addressing things that we've kind of talked about as well. A fence is not going to solve any of the problems. There has to be like it's just going to push these people, this criminal activity and everything elsewhere into like the streets, all of this kind of stuff. So he's addressing that and saying, of course, this is part of like this, however many millions they've assigned to this is going to be part of that. The fence is just one part of the solution. But of course, he's not really laying out any specific things other than saying that if the police are not taken up with dealing with Görlitzer Park, then they'll be able to be more in the Kiez. Well, yeah, that's what we're saying. If you close the park, it's just going to spill into the Kiez. And then why? It seems to be this really weird conception of the park. Like, I don't know. Like, what's going...
He probably just wants to build flats on it.
Oh, fucking hell. But I think it's just become this, like, flashpoint. No. The other thing he mentioned specifically was, and this is very interesting, was that they were going to increase funding. And he mentioned specifically the homeless shelter on Olauer Straße. So I looked this up. I'm like, okay. And it's like Olauer 365. It's supposed to be all year, like emergency accommodation. Basically, as soon as he made this speech about the fence, they get the information that their funding might be cut. Literally, I think like around the same time. And everyone's like, yeah, but that was the whole point of you announcing this whole thing with the fence and the funding for stuff in the area. Olauerstraße is like right by the park. So it's not a good faith thing. It's him playing to the gotta get tough on crime crowd, which no one ever thinks through. It's always good with conservative voters. And he couldn't even keep the promises about the one specific other measure that he mentioned other than this fucking fence that we're supposed to like leap a tram over. So I don't know. It's just, and I can imagine like Görlitzer Park has now become this kind of like, it's this criminal thing, just like Neukölln is, and everyone talks about it. And it's all just the people who vote for him outside of these areas. They don't live around there. And they're just dictating.
The no-go zones. They always say no.
These no-go zones. Like, fuck you. These are like our communities, or even worse, like Brennpunkte.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how much I hate that phrase because it's so dehumanizing. It's like, these are communities. These are social things that are happening. Anyway, so, yeah.
He's a dick.
Yeah. How's your mega?
Great. I'm still only about halfway through. It's nice.
I'm getting quite into it.
Yeah.
It could do maybe with like a spritz of lime. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we could write to Jack Daniels Mexico department and
We could.
suggest lime, because
Should we just start asking for... like,
lime's something that Mexicans are really good at. I mean, they have lime on everything.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they don't want it in here, because it would be too much lime.
It'd be ruining.
Lime overload. They just want something without lime.
Do you want a light-hearted Easter story? It's not actually Easter story, but a light-hearted story around the time of Easter.
Lovely. Yes. Let's do it.
Actually, it's not that light-hearted. It's kind of funny. Well, it starts off not light-hearted, and then it becomes more light-hearted at the end.
Okay.
So you might remember there was a whole awful accident on Leipziger Straße a few weeks ago where a woman was killed.
Heard about this.
By an over 80-year-old motorist who decided to drive onto the bike path. So since then, the question of redoing driver's tests for old age pensioners has come back. And it turns out that Germany is one of the few EU countries that don't require senior citizens to retake driver's tests. Who do you think might be behind that in the current government?
Oh, God. It's the business bros with their cars. Doesn't matter if someone is driving it who literally cannot see.
For example, in Spain, a mandatory test is required every 5 years from the age of 65. Czech Republic, the testing starts at 60. In Portugal, from 50.
And is this like a driving test, or is it like a physical, like not a seeing test?
I think it's
an
like
eyesight test?
I don't know. Sometimes it's health. Sometimes, in some cases, it's health checks.
But some kind of thing that you have to do to be like,
yeah, you have to.
It's appropriate for me to be behind the wheel of a car.
Yeah, and in Germany you can do it, but it's voluntary. And some people...
Of course it is. And it's Germany, so I get probably quite a lot of people do it.
Exactly.
Because
there are people who do go back to do drive.
And that's nice, and they want to do their civic duty, and I like that. But it's exactly the kind of people who are not volunteering that we need to be.
There's an old age pensioner doing his redoing his driving test.
Well, that's good for him.
So what they do, and they're not driving tests. They're called they want to. So some motorist organisations say this might be a good idea, but we should not call them driving tests, but call them feedback sessions. So you go and drive around with a driving instructor, and they just give you some gentle advice about what you should look out for, you know. And that is apparently what these voluntary tests essentially are. They can't. The driving instructor can't just immediately take away your driving license. You have to, like, you know, they sort of give you a bit, unless you like crash into a tree. But yeah, you have to. So you can do that, but it's voluntary in Germany, and apparently quite a lot of motorists do it. Well, not a lot, but obviously the ones that do it are the ones that are careful drivers anyway.
And look, like it's
the federal transport minister is a man called Volker Wissing of the Free Democratic Party.
I know that name.
He is very much against this idea of compulsory driving tests for older people, and he says that it just means more bureaucracy. Obviously, that's what they always say about everything. Yeah, so that's kind of quite interesting.
I mean,
yeah. So, would you like to do a voluntary feedback session?
Do you know what?
In a car?
I say this with a full, like, obviously, but then, like, we have to respond. Like, that accident was just so horrendous, and it's just awful. And when these things happen, there is obviously, like, a desire to respond in some way. And I don't know what the statistics are for accidents caused by older people.
I do have some stats actually on that.
And are there quite a lot in Germany?
So the ADAC, which is the Automobile Association, obviously like pro motorists, they have stats on who causes accidents, and they argue that that in fact the stats show that old people don't necessarily cause that. So they say that some 77,000 drivers over the age of 65 were involved in accidents causing personal injury, which is the equivalent of 15% of all accidents causing injury that year. This is the year 2022. But senior citizens comprise 22% of the German population. So they argue that actually the old people involved in accidents were a minority, like were less than they're less than the whole population average. But what they didn't mention was that the Federal Statistical Office said that when drivers over the age of 75 cause an accident, they are responsible or are involved in an accident. They are responsible for that accident 77% of the time. Which is higher than even like beginner drivers. That's higher than like 18-year-old drivers.
Oh God, 18-year-old. No one should be driving a car at 18. I think you should be allowed to drive briefly between the ages of about 30 and 50, and then more public transport for everyone. And look, like, I do think it's a difficult issue. There's obviously this horrendous traffic accident that happened, and it's also a really emotive issue, I think, for older people, and that's their independence. And
that's
like, I do get, like, my granny loved driving, and it was awful. Like, even years and years of, like, when she had dementia and stuff, she would still talk about wanting to be able to drive, and like, they've taken away my car. Like, it just, but that's also like, she definitely should not have been driving for the last 5 years of her life. That would have been, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. So that is true. There are a lot of.
But I do think there's a comedy series in that
mobility
feedback session. God.
So anyway, there's the other story.
Okay.
And one more.
Yes.
You got time for one more story?
We do.
This is we don't really often do sports stories. But
let's get some sports on here. Let's get those lads in. We can appeal to a broader audience and then try and radicalize them to the left, which apparently is a thing. I'm not sure it is. What I will tell you is that my YouTube really wants to radicalize me to the right, because I watched a few Six Nations rugby highlights, and now my algorithm is like just all my usual stuff, but then the occasional video of I did two things. I watched rugby highlights, and I sometimes the left-wing things that I follow, I think they will show clips of Piers Morgan, and deconstruct them,
Right.
but I somehow managed to click on a pure Piers Morgan clip, and that
You're like,
has
no,
fucked it.
no.
It's like,
Which
Doctor destroys gender theory.
Which
in
I have to say
30
isn't
seconds.
really fair on sports fans. I mean, a lot of
No.
sports fans they're all over the map politically, I believe.
Yes. Also, I enjoy watching sports.
Yeah.
We're coming up to a good summer for sports.
Indeed.
You've got the Euros. Have you got any tickets for the Euros? I did
No.
nothing to do that, and I would fucking love to go.
Oh, I haven't even looked. No idea. But anyway, yeah.
We could go to the fan mile, couldn't we?
Yeah, we could do a live podcast from the fan mile.
Oh my god, can you imagine the absolute chaos?
So
Just
the
get
European
people to come and-
Championships
Yeah,
are
sorry.
coming up in Germany.
It's hard to talk about anything with me, it seems.
And there has been a scandal in the German football world. The DFB, which is the German FA, has changed the kit supplier for the first time since the war, since there's ever been another kit supplier. And they've defected from Adidas, which is obviously the biggest German kit supplier brand, big sports equipment thing. And have now taken the American dollar of Nike,
Oh my god.
who offered them apparently double the money to make Germany's kits, and
Okay.
this has become a bit of a scandal across.
I mean, I can imagine it.
I mean, partly for superstitious reasons, because Germany won a lot of tournaments wearing Adidas.
Not recently, though, eh?
No reason though.
Maybe we need to change it up.
And also just for patriotic economic reasons. And it even motivated Economy Minister Robert Habeck to comment,
Wow.
who said he would be happy to talk to DFB President Bernd Neuendorf about his decision to Adidas to switch from Adidas to Nike.
Was that like I'm really actually quite interested in this, weirdly, or just be like, yeah, sure, I can talk to him about that. Like, I don't know. Like, I can't imagine Habeck's probably quite busy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. What? Sorry, what?
The quote I have here is the economy minister said he would have liked a bit more local patriotism.
Right.
Right, yeah.
I mean, so would we all, but if I'm going to be true to my Northern Irish roots here, I noticed you're saying Adidas and Nike. I will be calling them Nike and Adidas.
Oh, right, okay. I don't know.
We don't know. The first time I heard someone say Nike, I was like, what the fuck is that?
I don't even know what Germans say. No idea. Adidas, I think. Yeah.
Adidas.
Right. So,
okay.
right, yeah. Then anyway,
It's also because
that's a bit of a scandal, apparently.
Is it because the new German strip is pink and purple and the internet is like for this tournament, which is still Adidas?
Yeah. It's only in 2027, we should say. It's not for this tournament.
Someone sent me a video of it, and the comment section on this pink and they've actually like had to release a little Insta video being like, look at us in our pink strip, we're kind of fine about it, it's cool and modern.
Wait, is this the football team, yeah? They got
Yeah.
a pink strip.
For this one, apparently
right.
so.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the away, I don't know. But surely if the tournament is at home. Anyway, I don't know. The fucking comments are hilarious.
People have lost their minds.
A dirtying of our dignity.
Who said that?
I don't know, some random commenter. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vomiting emojis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
People
hilarious.
get really
But
touchy
what I
about-
would like to say, this is where I will switch into sports fan mode. I don't give a fucking shit about any of this. Get practicing. One of the things I enjoy about living in Germany is that I can support the German football team, because both the Northern Irish and the Southern Irish football teams have not been performing really well enough to get them to any tournaments recently. So I've been like, finally, I can just go all in for Deutschland. And what have Deutschland done for me? Nothing. So, come on.
Okay.
There we go. I still have a Megacan to drink.
Yeah, I still think.
Oh, God.
We got anything else to talk about? You want to do your Easter tips?
Yeah, well, I want to call them spring tips because I don't want to be like exclusionary.
Okay.
But they're like kind of Easter based. I don't know. I was looking up on the Berlin.de site if they had like Ramadan stuff, because Ramadan's going on at the moment, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, there was another scandal with that too.
Fine.
I won't bring it up. Don't worry.
Well, we've mentioned it now.
So you remember Julian Reichelt?
Oh, the guy that you hate.
Yeah.
This is the man that makes you talk like me.
Yeah, he's an evil cunt.
You see, I told you. Makes
He
Conrad sound like
He
Megan.
He's evil.
So he was the former editor of the Bild. He's no longer.
Yeah, he got sacked, and now he just goes on Twitter and annoys people like me.
Yeah.
And he put out a tweet saying that there was Islamism in the German football team because one of the players, Rüdiger, is an observant Muslim, and he took a picture of himself. He posted a picture of himself with the Muslim clothes on. Don't know what did you call that?
Wow.
But he was like praying for Ramadan. You know, he was like celebrating Ramadan on my social media. And Julian Reichelt lost his tiny mind over this and said this is Islamism in the German football team.
That's disgusting. Like, how is that like legal? This is what I don't get. Like, you can't.
Well, he is being sued now by Rüdiger.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, can we chuck some money at that? And it was like, Megan, he's a professional footballer. You are a teacher. Even in Germany, where they pay you the best, he doesn't need your support. He's not running a fucking crowdfunder, is he? Anyway, okay. No more comments about the news. So, spring is here in Berlin. We thought we would do spring tips.
Right.
We actually thought we would have to fill up more of this show until you realised I had a hate speech to give about Kai Wegner. It's not really Easter, but it is spring and it is exciting because everyone gets a long weekend. Everyone remember, the shops, you have to get your shopping in. Friday going to be closed. Saturday will be brief opening. It will be absolute chaos in those shops on Saturday. Particularly, I would imagine, if you're in and around Neukölln and Kreuzberg, where it's busy during the day as well, because people are then having their breaking of the fast in the evening. So just plan your shopping. Mm-hmm. Sunday and Monday closed.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you forget every year. It's true. Mm-hmm. You always run out of milk, and then it's Monday. And
yeah, don't come crying to me if you miss it now.
Good tip.
So, what things are there to do in the spring? I'm going to give a very personal list. Yesterday, I had one of those days where after the winter, you walk along and you're like, oh, this is why I live in this city. This is why I did all of this. And walk along the Spree. I went from Friedrichstraße I actually went to Rheinwitzbrücke, which was really nice. And you can have like a little takeaway cocktail. You can get them from places. I got mine from a little place in Montbijou Park, just by the Spree when you're looking at the cathedral, just looking at Museum Island. Very nice. They had a happy hour. It was €6.50 for my Aperol Spritz. They said they were only going to take card payment after 15, but if you make a disappointed face and go to walk away, they'll take your card.
They still want your money.
It was a very nice Aperol Spritz and a big thing of orange. Apparently, having a big fire is a thing in Germany.
Really?
At Easter. Yes. I only find this out from my friend Mareike.
Like a bonfire?
Yeah. Like an Osterfeuer. And I do love a big fire. Like there's something about, like we do it at Halloween. England does it 5th of November. I do think it's good. And there's a lot of like Volkfeste, like village things.
Okay. Where's the nearest bonfire?
Well, I also think that people might not understandably want to go to Volkfeste in and around Brandenburg these days. Because, I don't know, the Venn diagrams of like AFD and like traditional German festivals in Brandenburg, it's going to be a lot.
Especially
there's also like a night festival, like a medieval night festival in the Spandau Citadel with night events on and off horseback.
That sounds like fun.
Doesn't it? Yeah. But also could be weirdly right-wing. I don't know.
Teutonic Knights.
Very strange.
Going on crusades.
They are having quite a lot of things, including an Osterfeuer at the Britzer Garten, which is in Neukölln. It's in kind of Brits, obviously. It's really nice to
Okay.
go to. It's massive. You go walk around. They've got all these different styles of gardens, different styles of trees. You can go and see the fire or not. They're doing like egg painting and everything.
And isn't the cherry blossoms around there somewhere?
Right. Yes. But I did hear from someone recently who went out to see the blossoms and they're not quite out yet.
Oh, yeah.
So you may want to have an eye on this.
Isn't that
I have been sent a Blütenbarometer, a flower barometer, but
Okay.
that is only for kind of northernly.
Okay.
All of it is still saying they're still coming out. I don't know.
Been too cold, probably.
Yeah, possibly.
But isn't there like some street in Martin where they have some Japanese trees and they have all these blossoms that come out, and it's a nice thing that people do.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few streets like that. There's one in Telto as well, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've never done it, so I don't know. But yeah.
That's great.
But
yeah.
you can go to Britzergarten and they are also having an Osterfeuer. You can also go and be on a rooftop and have a nice drink. And I would recommend, in Neukölln, we've got 2 rooftops. We've got Klunkerkranich, which is the one on the top of their shopping centre, the Arkaden, which is cool because you go into a shopping centre and like come out into this like very cool looking bar area. But it's always full. So what you should do is during the day, go to the top of the Karstadt building, which also has a roof terrace, which they do nothing with. You can just marvel at
There's no
this
bar.
huge expense. Oh, there's a bar and a restaurant, but they shut it at 4 p.m. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Every day. But go during the thing. During the day, you can get like a little bottle of like Rotkäppchen. They do sometimes. There's a bar there. I've never seen it open.
Yeah.
But you'll definitely get a table out on the terrace and you can look like up the hill, up Hermannstrasse. You're obviously on Hermannplatz. It's really cool. And no one is there. This is why Karstadt is having to close down, by the way. I love Karstadt and they've done nothing with any of this space. They could have been renting that out to hipsters to do.
Left, right, and centre.
My God. Anyway, those are my spring tips.
Marvelous. That was great. That was.
I made a list.
They were all like insider tips. Yeah, that was.
Well,
great. Yeah.
I don't know if it's insider tips. It's just like shit I've done in the last couple of days because I've been off work. But like Britzergarten is nice.
Okay.
In Brit.
Well, on that note, this has been marvelous. Thank you very much
Trying to
for.
finish this mega.
Yeah. I'm still.
It's
working
been
on mine.
nice.
Thanks, Hannah.
Yes, thank you very much, Hannah.
Wow.
Muchos gracias.
Very
That
good.
is the sum total of my Spanish.
Okay.
All right. Happy spring, everybody.
Happy spring.
Stay safe. Enjoy the long weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Megacan, German news in English with a cocktail can. The German news, it's quite a test. With Megan's Mega, you're feeling refreshed. Ooh, Megan's Megacan, German news in English with a cocktail can. Deutsche Nachrichten sind düster und schwer.
Defy the fear.
Yeah.
It's actually it's quite a positive message to give to
think
people.
so.
I like to think that we have quite a positive impact on our listeners
I hope so.
because we try and get them to defy the fear of listening to the news all day.
I mean, it's better than reading a German newspaper. Surely.
I would definitely recommend listening to our podcast more than reading any German newspaper.
German newspapers barely have pictures. Like fucking, it's just a brick of text.
Oh yes, yeah, and they seem to make a virtue of it. They think it's like so great to have no text.
Not like you Americans
pictures.
with your fucking
Colour pictures.
decadent pictures in
I
your
know.
newspapers.
Yeah,
What's
like-
that? A crossword puzzle? Oh, no
You have
wonder
to-
you had Trump. Jesus Christ, everyone! Like, there's a middle ground.
You have to concentrate on the news. It's very important, and you have to like keep it there.
Just have a mega.
Have a mega. Give us a picture every now and then.
Just a
and-
wee picture, maybe of,
Yeah.
a diagram.